Going back to World War II with Call of Duty Vanguard, it was very important to make sure that we had a canvas that was large enough to tell this story that's really about all these different theaters of war and how all these people came together. We're inspired a lot by what cinema does. Early on, we had this idea of, hey, what if we could actually partner with someone in the film industry? And that's how we got to talking to Hojte Van Hoйтema. It's allowing us to bring in some of his sensibilities and his philosophies into our format.
It just has a very different set of rules and a very different set of sort of philosophies as if you would be making a movie. But what if you would approach this game as if it was a movie? You would start thinking about its concepts and about its colors and about its cameras and about its angles as if you were doing a film. And that is a very different mindset.
I think if anything, it was just a huge learning experience for like the whole team. And I think film breaks a lot of walls, and incorporating more film concepts help us break our walls.
Growing up in an art background, I think the first thing you try to learn is how to make things look better. You chase this idea of, beauty. And so in my initial conversations with Hojte, that's one of the first things that he challenged.
In working with Hojte, one of the things he really cared a lot about was creating these honest images. We wanted to create images that didn't have anything that didn't need to be there, that distracted from the purpose of that scene.
Don't do everything because you can. It's much more important to keep your restraint and do as little as you need to do in order to help that build up to that moment that you really want to show fireworks.
We've worked with Company 3 in the past who've color graded a lot of our games. Going back to Advanced Warfare, I mean, they did some amazing stuff.
Cinematic sort of reality was something that was stressed. I saw a bunch of briefs and a bunch of images and heard Hojte and Joe and other people speak with respect to their intentions. And in this particular instance, it came together rather quickly because everybody seemed to be on the same page.
I was a huge Call of Duty fan. So as soon as I heard, I was thrilled. I was like, how can I be a part of this? And I was part of kind of that initial testing phase of what does the game need to feel like? How do we want this to be different than any other game?
With Operation Tonga, we're creating this experience of like a soldier separated from his team, all on his own. We needed to create this very isolated experience. Working with someone like Hojte, who understands lighting and cameras and has this immense knowledge to share with us, gave us a lot of information that let us ask the right questions when we were working with Company 3.
I think there's a lot of moments that maybe traditionally they would have been flamboyant and crazy, and now they're much more restrained and suddenly they become more meaningful.
When we were initially testing out Tonga, we were able to test out different looks, see how certain scenes reacted to a particular LUT or pushing it cooler or warmer. And kind of shaping it up a little bit more. We were able to kind of get a sense of what worked and what doesn't, and how we are going to be able to create that sense of realism.
In the game, we can make anything. It's CG, right? It's computer graphics. So the more you do that, the more that the game feels like a game and it feels like a fantasy.
We had a lot of discussions about how can we make things feel more real and how can we make things feel as if they're part of our real world. Sometimes you can create a beautiful sunset, right, just because you can, but maybe that sunset you should just tone down, make it grayer, make it a little bit more depressing, make it a little bit lesser flashy.
I think having those imperfections and letting things bounce around sometimes, especially if it's a frenetic sort of part of the scene. For me, I've learned over the years that, the biggest source of realism is imperfection.
And those kind of little choices all over the whole thing, I think they were very important in adding that kind of realism.
When we're iterating on cameras, we would have a character performance and the camera would track the character perfectly. It just seemed artificial. And then so what we did was we pretended like there was a camera operator, and that camera operator couldn't keep up with the choreography because the choreography is so fast.
We are working in CG. We can put the camera literally anywhere we want, but we wanted to restrain ourselves and put the camera in places that it could actually be put. There are some examples where it does seem like a very intricate camera move, but it should always be something that could have been done in the real world.
The team has these amazing ideas and creative energy, and so it's all about like just heightening that and just giving them more tools and bringing more people into the conversation to push us further, right?
I very seldom encountered a group that was just so genuinely enthusiastic about what they were doing. And there's nothing better than, you know, be invited into a creative process like that.
And it's really elevating the art direction, the visual aesthetic, the creative direction, right? There's ideas that kind of flow back and forth in between either Parker at Company 3 or Hojte, and we're all kind of working, trying to shape this thing. From the very beginning, we wanted to achieve a new feeling and a new player, a new dimension for immersion. So with collaborators that we've been able to bring on board to this project, the partnerships, everything we've learned and everything we've grown as a studio and as creatives, we're excited about what the player is going to experience on Call of Duty Vanguard.
PlayStation